this is Raheen Fatima, and as you know, we have started a series of interviews, and today we are interviewing Tristan Elizabeth. And well, she's doing a lot of things, and one of the things that she's doing is meditation, working on meditation, and she's also the CEO and founder of Flow. So let's know more about what Flow is. So, without further ado, let's get to know her. Hello, Tristan. How are you doing today?
Hi, Rahina. I'm having a really good day. Started the day with meditation, always a great way to begin. And then I had a team meeting with my Flow team. I am the original founder and CEO of Flow, but we have a new CEO for the last 7 months. Her name is Christine, and I'm very proud of her. She's an absolute Wonder Woman. And I thank you for saying I'm CEO, but I did hand over the baton to an incredible lady who's really doing wonders for the company.
Yeah, and you found somebody that you trust with, something that you found, and that's a great thing. So let's, tell our audience what Flow is.
Thank you for the opportunity. So I founded Flow back in 2016 with a vision to create better and easier access to the benefits of meditation for the people of the world. And I wanted to use cutting edge technology in whatever way we could bring meditation on a large scale to people all over the world. And with this vision, we began working with virtual reality. And we created a virtual reality app. It's called Flow VR. And inside of that app, you can train and practice meditation in many different ways. You can breathe. You can also move your body. You can breathe and move. You can let go. You can actively release stress. You can focus your mind on your higher intention. You can have your own personal mantra or prayer, and you can also reach a depth of calm. And from that calm place, really look and see what are your next action steps. So you can gain a lot of clarity. You can also have these wonderful moments of full body relaxation. So we offer a wide variety of tools, meditation tools within the VR app. And then we also do corporate wellness programs. So that's been our great project this last year. We've been delivering to all the most innovative companies in Iceland. Even the government has hired us to train their employees how to meditate. And this has been such an incredible experience to share meditation to so many more people.
So congratulations. I mean, the government hired you, and being hired by the government and also working in a way is a great achievement, and it's something that's really great, and you're doing it. So, I'm a child. And what I think is that everybody's childhood really, really has an effect on their adult life and their success then. So how was your early childhood?
Thank you for asking. I actually watched one of your interviews with Christian Smits, and that's why when I watched the interviews, I hope I get to do an interview with Raheen. I can't believe it happened so fast after I saw that interview that here we are doing this. I think it's very valuable to talk about childhood. My early childhood, I was born in California, in Redwood City, California. And not long after that, when I was 15 months old, I moved to Palo Alto, and I grew up on a street called Park Boulevard near a park in Palo Alto. And in those days, it was a very relaxed town, and it was a university town. My mom and my dad divorced when I was young. This did have a big impact on me because it was traumatic to have my dad move away, and he actually moved quite far away. And he was very, very, very important to me. My dad was a meditator, and he brought me to my first meditation when I was only 4 years old. So barefoot in San Francisco Golden Gate Park with the massive crowd of hippies. I was there with him, and I remember it. And there was even a TV crew there, and they caught a picture of me and my dad holding me in his arms. My grandparents saw us in Texas. They were watching the news. They saw us on TV in this meditation back in the early 70s. So that was pretty cool. He gave me the book Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse to read when I was 9 years old. We talked about meditation, and I had a spiritual connection through my dad. My mom was an amazing woman. She put herself through Stanford University, and then she worked at Stanford University for her whole career. And so I grew up there, and I feel like I grew up kind of in a paradise because I was able to play sports, and I was able to ride everywhere on my bicycle. I had a lot of freedom growing up near that park, and having along our street, nobody locked their doors. Everybody could just go kind of practically, all the kids played together. It had a strong community feeling. It was an idyllic time. And interestingly, my stepdad, he told me when I was a kid, he said, Tristan, computers are going to change everything. So I was writing in my junior high school, I wrote one of my papers. I wrote a paper on world hunger, and I did my research at Stanford in the library, and I was using the computer to write my paper. And in those days, they looked different. But my stepdad was hearing lectures on what was going to be happening with the internet, the World Wide Web, and he said it's going to really change everything. And so I was growing up in a place like in the early 70s that these conversations were happening, and sure enough, wow, they've transformed our world so quickly. And the good news is that we're in communication, and moments like this can happen, and we can share things like meditation and all kinds of knowledge, and hopefully the world is coming closer, and we're all going to be helping each other as time passes to get through all kinds of different situations like the one we're facing now. With the crisis we're facing now, we're able to share information and able to find hopefully solutions faster, and be in the communication and have a more holistic view on how we're going to deal with everything. So my childhood, I love my childhood. I look back on my childhood as such a magical time, and my parents were so loving, and even though my father was far away, there was a tremendous love between us. And he gave me the gift of meditation. And also I wanted to mention that in my childhood, what did I want to mention? There was something I had in my mind. My parents had, of course, a big influence on me growing up and seeing different parts of the world. So my mom and my stepdad came into my life when I was 7. He was an amazing guy. He was riding a motorcycle. He was doing his PhD at Stanford. And I was just mentioning, Raheen, to your dad, my stepdad wrote his PhD on milk production in Pakistan. So he was a pretty worldly guy. He'd been in the Peace Corps, and he'd rode his motorcycle through Asia, through Southeast Asia, and through, all across India, and came through Europe and Middle East and everything. He'd been everywhere on his motorcycle, and he was writing his PhD. They fell in love, and we moved to Southeast Asia when I was a teenager. So we lived for 2 years in Indonesia, and I went to high school in Singapore for 2 years. So this was a huge, huge influencer on me. I also, being introduced to a whole another culture, it completely changed my outlook on everything. And I started reading a lot about Eastern religions at that time. So I was really looking into, the origins of Zen, and I read a lot of books on I was just fascinated. So, thank you for asking me to reflect on all of this, because I can see now as I'm talking how a lot of these things lined up and made me into the person I am today. and creator flow, and all the different pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah. And this is exactly why I do this. Because, it's like walking you down the memory lane and you're just so into this and then, you're into this zone then for the rest of the interview. So, and how were your teenage years? Because, they're the most memorable years of your life. That's, when you're carefree and you're doing anything you want.
That's so true. In my teenage years, I had a gang of girlfriends. My girlfriends and I were very close knit, and then I moved 2 years to Singapore, which kind of broke up the tribe. And then I was away, and then I came back for my final year of high school at Palo Alto High School. So it was, I learned so much. I had so much life experience. By the time I was a senior in high school, I'd lived in Asia for 2 years, and they used to call me Singapore girl. Commercials on the Singapore Airlines. And yeah, it was just teenage years. I was playing a lot of soccer. I was playing soccer in Palo Alto, but then I also played on the Singapore American high school team, and we went to Kuala Lumpur, we went to the Philippines, we went to the neighboring capital cities and played tournaments. That was really incredible. I was on a debate team, and I was debating against, I was debating about nuclear disarmament, and really, and I remember I took a computer science class, and I remember my stepfather saying, and I wanted to be an artist at that time, and my stepfather said, but can't you do some computer science on the side, to learn, for your career? And I was like, I don't know. I wasn't really moving in that direction. I was more wanting to be a free spirit. And so I ended up following that urge, after being kind of a free spirit in high school. And then when I went to college, I decided to ultimately study theater arts. But I went through a big journey because I also wanted to, as a teenager, I did some volunteer work at Community Association for the Retarded, and I was working with disabled kids, and I was also helping the elderly. So I had a strong urge in me to work maybe in the healthcare sector. So when I started university, I was gonna be a doctor. And but I ended up then gravitating towards the arts. In California, when you do your undergraduate studies, they give you the opportunity to study a wide variety of subjects. So I was studying chemistry and art. And when I was in my painting class, I was feeling so blissful. And I was like, I think I want to be an artist. And so my parents were like, how are you going to make money? They were really worried about me. And I ended up following the artist path anyway, and I ended up leaving Palo Alto and moving to Dublin in Ireland and joining theater company after I got my degree in theater arts.
Okay, so you changed your mind a lot of times, from being a doctor to a painter to theater arts. And that was actually my next question, because I saw your profile and I saw study theater arts, and then I started to connect both, and I was like, okay, I'll ask her this. So how did you finally make up your mind, I'm going to study theater arts? And how was working with the company?
That was quite a journey. So in university, I felt that being studying theater arts and going into acting was probably the most challenging choice I could make, because it's a very hard profession. I mean, to make it as an actor requires to give every ounce of your soul, your body, your mind, everything 100%. So I used to look up at and wish on a star, oh, please, I want to make it as an actor, and I worked really hard. And then when I completed my degree, I decided to move to Ireland and join a theater company because I had realized I watched a movie called My Left Foot, and that with Daniel Day-Lewis, and to me that was the greatest example of an actor putting himself completely 100% into the role. He was playing the role of a disabled artist who painted with his foot, and the film was so moving to me. I didn't speak for like a day after I watched that movie, and then I decided I was going to go to Ireland and dive all the way into theater arts. I did that for 6 years, and I had an incredible time acting in leading roles in a theater company in Dublin, which is probably the greatest city in the world for English-speaking theater arts. And I had wonderful roles, leading roles in plays by Ibsen and plays by Arthur Miller and Sam Shepard. And I just had this incredible experience being fully immersed in theater and acting. And I thought that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I thought that's what was my life. And I did a lot of things in theater. After I had 6 years in Ireland, I moved to Iceland and I did a one-woman play that toured around the world. And I really did think that was my path. And then in the year 2004, I had started meditating very seriously in 2000, the year 2000. And I had done a 9-day retreat where in Iceland, and it changed everything for me. 9 days of deep meditation, and like a whole world opened up for me, a whole new reality and universe. I basically, it took me back to my childhood, and I remembered some experiences that I'd had as a child, some spiritual experiences, and they were not something that were taught to me. They were given. They were a gift. Feeling emotional about it because these experiences they've given me a lot of trust and faith in God, in the Almighty, in the Supreme, Almighty Supreme, in like there's such a great force of love and good in the world, in the universe, that's much bigger than we can at all comprehend, and that it's actually the most powerful thing, and that I was connected to that as a child, and that it gave me certain visions and experiences and knowing, a deep sense of faith or trust that didn't come from a book or from a particular path or anything. It just came from being alive and having being a child and having I have to maybe tell you some of these experiences, because they were from when I was a baby, and from all the way from when I was a baby till when I was in my early teens. I had some profound, impactful visions that stayed with me, and they were very comforting, and yeah, they've kind of kept me going on my spiritual search.
Yeah. And so all this time from that San Francisco, that San Francisco park, when your dad actually taught you, meditation, and basically that was like the introduction. Like any book has an introduction, that was, the introduction in your book. And so did that discontinue for the time that you started meditating a lot in 2000? Or was it still there a bit?
I think it was really forgotten. Like I'd really forgotten everything to do with what I'd read as a teenager, my experience as a child. They were all very much forgotten and buried. And then when I went to the 9-day retreat, they woke up in me again. My memories of that spiritual connection, it just kind of flooded back.
And so when did you actually have that idea of flow, and when did you actually decide that I'm going to take this further and then I'm just going to make it into a company?
So I had one experience earlier of being an entrepreneur, and it was really hard. And I had started a company that was making organic clothing, no, from organic fabrics, and it was really cool. But it took a lot out of me. And when I closed the company, I had a little bit of a crash, and it was a bit painful. I didn't think I was going to go back into a business again. I thought I would just devote the rest of my life to meditation and my family, and I wasn't going to go back into that hot seat again and risk everything. But then in the year 2015, I met a very important person, and that was kind of you could say he's like kind of like a father figure in the Iceland startup scene. And he was talking about the startup scene in Iceland. And he invited myself and a group of creative people to a conference on startup ecosystem in Iceland. And during that conference, I had the vision that I wanted to create a cutting edge app for meditation, something that hadn't been done before, and that would create better access to meditation's benefits. And it was like this passion got awoken in me again. And interestingly, everything I applied for, all the accelerator, the different programs, everything was yes, yes, yes. And I got the green light to work on this. And so that's what happened in the summer of 2016. I got an accelerator program, and at the end of that, we had the alpha version or the demo version of Flow VR, and that was just getting an amazing response from people. So we knew we were on track that we had something very, very special.
Okay. And so how is your families and relatives' reaction to you finding a company for meditation? How was their reaction?
Everyone was really supportive. I mean, no, I didn't get any complaints. Everyone's been very supportive, actually. So my husband is actually a filmmaker, and he's on the founding team. He's an award-winning filmmaker. He creates the visuals for the apps and also content, because he's a meditator for 20 years, like me. Like, he's got into meditation on the same year that I did, in the year 2000. So he is, and his partner. We have a core team of people that have been very, very dedicated for 20 years. And not only meditating, but also spending time with enlightened spiritual masters. So we have like quite a strong foundation that we're building on.
Yeah, and so like your theater arts, like your degree in theater arts really connects to your husband's profession, like being a filmmaker. Me also being a theater actress, I feel like it's a really hard job to do. Like, you're not saying anything like, I'm Raheen, I'm saying this. It's like the other character saying this and giving out a message. And man, it's a very great thing. So do you really think that meditation, and why do you think that meditation is needed in this time? And like this coronavirus, this pandemic, why do you think it's really needed right now?
It's needed now more than ever, because people are realizing when they need to slow down. I mean, everyone's slowing down. And when you do that, and if you're not used to meditating, it can be quite uncomfortable. And people are facing difficult feelings. They're facing maybe some anxiety, worry, or feeling trapped or frustration to be, having to be stuck at home. So, and also we need to avoid worry, and we need to focus on the solutions. We need to focus on positive action steps. So we have to use these tools to break out of any negative thinking or anything that's stopping us from, taking each day and each moment and making it what it can be. I mean, we all need to take care of ourselves and each other and have clarity on how to do that, and try not to be so distracted and try not to be worried. The pandemic is natural. It was natural that we worry about the world or about other people, each other, or ourselves. And worry doesn't help. But what we need to do is instead go deeper and find out what we need to really think about and put our attention there.
Okay. And so with this, our interview has come to an end, but at last I'd really request Tristan to just give out a message for all the young people out there and some tips to start their meditation journey.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I'm so delighted to meet you and to connect with your community. To all the young people out there, find the way to meditate that appeals to you, that calls to your heart. And whether that's taking a nature walk or just, closing your eyes and finding your way. I mean, meditation is tricky. It's challenging because we have a very, very active mind. So use the tools that you find effective. And if you want to try what we've built with Flow, you don't necessarily have to have the virtual reality headset. You can just go to flow.is and explore some of our audio guided meditations. And we've got a wonderful resource there for you. And I wish everybody success on their journey, connecting within, opening your heart, and finding your unique path.
And thank you so much, Tristan, for two things. First, for coming here, telling about your journey and telling us how you got started and how all these things work, and telling us about flow. And second, for giving us such a beautiful message. Thank you so much again. And so, guys, with this, I would end the interview. And this was Tristan Elizabeth, and we will come again with another person and another story. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.